Now, before getting into the main part of this video, I have added this introduction to explain why in the title it says this is the redacted version. I originally recorded it on the 6th of May 2025, but since then I have become aware that there is a possibility that there may now be legal restrictions in reporting of Warren McCorriston's name in connection with the charges that are currently part of court proceedings in Newcastle. And this could explain why I have not seen any media reports mentioning his name since August 2024. So consequently, before uploading this video, I have redacted all references to the nature and other details of those charges, and to err on the side of caution, I've also redacted all references to the nature and other details of any other past or present charges, convictions, or allegations. Now, I don't know if it's necessary to do that, but I've decided to err on that side of caution. So for the first part about Warren McCorriston, it may seem a little disjointed at times, but the second part about his brother David McCorriston has not been redacted and includes details of new charges I have not previously mentioned. So I will now go on with the video. I'm David A. Elliott. In this video, I will be giving you some updates on the brothers Warren and David McCorriston, and this will include some new charges for alleged offences committed by David McCorriston, and I haven't mentioned these in any previous videos. Now, it appears the various offences the brothers committed were done independently, which is unlike a lot of the offences committed by the Mateer brothers, who I have discussed in previous videos. And I don't even know if the McCorriston brothers even knew of each other's offending, though you might think they would at least have an inkling into what their brother was like, since they're both offenders, but very different. But moving on, I will firstly update you on Warren McCorriston. Now, there was disagreement between media reports in August as to whether he entered a no plea in court or pleaded not guilty. And there was also disagreement as to whether his sentence hearing or trial would be on the 19th of September 2024 or in October. I have been able to confirm that an arraignment hearing did occur on the 19th of September, and it was expected that the finalised and full nature of the charges to be taken to trial would be given then, and he would have most likely have either pleaded guilty or not guilty. However, I did not discover any media reports or further information about that hearing. Though I have found out that there was a bail review hearing that was scheduled for the 21st of November 2024. I'm not certain if this did occur, but in any case, it does raise the question, why was he having a bail review hearing? But before discussing this, it's probably best to answer the question, what is a bail review hearing? Well, I should say that I'm not a legal expert, so don't take anything I say as legal advice. And I could be totally wrong. So if anyone knows better, then feel free to put it in the comments. But in the case of a bail review hearing, basically from what I have been able to see, it may occur if bail had previously been applied for and either refused or granted. And if it was granted, that could be with or without conditions. So a bail review can be applied for by any interested party. So, for example, could be the accused, the victim, the prosecution, or someone else. Anyway, the purpose of the review would be to change the decision on granting bail, whether that was refused or occurred, or if it did occur, to possibly change the conditions of the bail. So it's either better or worse, but anyway. I believe it would need to be based on a change of circumstances or that there's new information that was not known at the time of the original decision. So we then got to go, well, if there was a bail review hearing for Warren McCorriston, how would it have applied to him? Well, unfortunately, I have not seen any reports in the media or any other information in regards to Warren McCorriston, apart from the dates of those hearings, since August 2024. So I can only surmise, but it seems he must have applied for bail sometime since August 2024, because that was the hearing that was reports on, and there was nothing said about applying for bail at that time. So I assume he didn't, or at least they didn't report it. So the only other possibility I could think of is it might have been mentioned at the 19th of September hearing, where it was either granted or refused. Now, I think if it was granted, there would have been some media reports on it, because that would have seemed unusual. Similarly, if the bail review hearing occurred, I think it extremely doubtful there would have been no reports about this if he was bailed. So I do suspect he is still in custody, but I cannot be totally sure that is the case. Either way, if it was decided his case needed to go to trial, I would not expect this occur until later this year, or possibly even sometime next year. Anyway, just to finish off with Warren McCorriston, I have come across some information that indicates he may have had a hearing at Southport Court in Queensland on the 27th of February this year, being 2025. I don't know what this hearing was in relation to. I'll leave it there for Warren McCorriston and move on to his brother, David. Now, the last time I believe I spoke about David McCorriston in a video was the one I made in September 2022 about his sentencing and another possible victim. So, he was originally arrested on the 2nd of June 2021 in relation to sexual offences that occurred between 1987 and 2007. And it was reported that in 1987 he had been released from jail for a previous sexual assault. Anyway, after his arrest in 2021, a third victim came forward, and David McCorriston ended up pleading guilty to 19 charges on the 23rd of February 2022, and 20 other charges were withdrawn. So his sentencing didn't occur until the 1st of September 2022, and he was sentenced to 11 years, 6 months jail with a non-parole period of 6 years and 11 months. And this was also backdated to his arrest in June 2021. So the earliest that he could be released would be in May 2028. So he's in jail for a few more years yet. But anyway, there was also, from that, there was also a report in 2006 that he himself had reported to police that from the age of 13, he was the victim of sexual abuse. However, he did not proceed any further with those allegations, so it's quite possible that was the case. It was also claimed during his sentencing that after 2007, he had stopped offending as a conscious decision not to do it anymore. But moving on, in 2024, new charges were made against David McCorriston for alleged child sexual offences that occurred in the late 1980s. I did mention in my last video about him that there was another possible victim who had contacted me, but it seems that the offences he's been most recently charged with are not to do with that, as those offences occurred about 10 years before he says the alleged offences that occurred against him happened, which would have been in the late 1990s, and these are in the late 1980s. David McCorriston's first court appearance on these charges occurred on the 30th of October 2024. This was reported in the Newcastle News on the 31st of October 2024. So I shall read you some of that. Inmate charged over historical child sex offences. Written by Dan Proudman. A jail inmate has faced court for the first time charged with new child sex offences, allegedly committed in the Lake Macquarie area more than 30 years ago. David Allen McCorriston, 59, faced Belmont Local Court via audio-visual link on Tuesday. So that would be obvious because he's still in jail. Yes, that'd be the reason. On 9 charges relating to one alleged child victim. The charges include 4 counts of sexual assault of a person aged between 10 and 16, 4 counts of sexual assault, incite indecent act of person under 16, and 1 count of sexual assault, I think duplicated that word, and commit an act of indecency. Lake Macquarie detectives will allege the offending occurred between the late 1980s and 1990. McCorriston was not required to enter any pleas and did not apply for bail, and probably would have been pointless applying for bail since he can't be released on parole until 2028. Magistrate Stephen Ollie-Schlager, hopefully I pronounced that right, or it might be Ollie-Schlager, formally remanded McCorriston in custody. The Lake Macquarie man will reappear in court on January 8. So to date, I have not come across any other media reports in relation to these new charges against David McCorriston. However, as stated in that article, he did reappear in court on the 8th of January 2025 this year. This was a committal hearing, and there have been further committal hearings on the 5th of March and the 30th of April 2025. His next hearing will be a further committal hearing, and it will be on the 14th of May. And this may have already occurred by the time I upload this video, and if there's anything I can report on that, I'll do that in the near future. But before I finish off, I will just mention that I've created a YouTube podcast playlist with all the videos I have made in relation to the missing girls and Strikeforce Arapaima investigations. And I've called it Missing and Murdered in 20th Century New South Wales. And I'll put a link in the description to that. You will see in the description for that podcast that I intend to expand on the cases I report on to the rest of New South Wales. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and share it with anyone else you think may be interested in this topic. Also, please subscribe to this channel and click on the bell to be notified when I upload future videos. And if you wish to support me to make more videos, you can do so at Patreon. I'm David A. Elliott. Have a good one and see you around. Like a result.